Escape from Tarkov can be one of the hardest games to have a decent amount of money in. Between losing gear to dying or spending all your rubles upgrading your hideout, it can be very easy to find yourself extremely low on money. After just 3 days using this method, I was able to regain myself over 10 million rubles with very little to no risk at all. Before we get started, be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my future guides. After a few days of failed task attempts as a solo, I found myself broke and low on gear, and I knew I needed to make a change. So far this wipe, I really haven't used my scavs whatsoever, but at this point, being a little bit low on money and doing a bunch of hideout upgrades, I decided it was the perfect time to start. Now, what I decided to do was go on the streets of Tarkov now that I've learned that map, and the results have been absolutely insane. Now, if you don't know streets super well, I have 2 different guides linked down below. One is going to be for all of the extracts for PMCs as well as scavs, and the other one is going to be for a loot guide for the main buildings that you're going to want to be checking. So I would definitely recommend checking out those guides, as well as there's going to be a link for a map that I'm going to be using in this video. I would strongly recommend, no matter what, you open up the map, so once you spawn in, you can just get a feel for the map as well as where you are and some of the other potential player spawns. So now that you're in raid, there's going to be mainly 4 buildings that you're going to want to be checking out. Now that's going to be Concordia, Lexos, Check 15, and the post office. Now, depending on where you spawn, the odds are you are going to be closest to one of these spots. Now, if you're a scav, obviously you're going to be safe. But if you're on a PMC raid, obviously Lexos is going to be extremely dangerous, and I honestly recommend pretty much just avoiding it entirely. Another thing I should definitely mention is that when you're walking around Lexos, there are going to be tons of landmines that if you don't walk the perfect path to walk into it, you're going to get blown up. So honestly, if you're newer to the map, I would strongly just completely just stay away from Lexos. It's got some decent loot, but the odds are somebody better is just going to already be there anyway, so just entirely avoid it. Now, I know a lot of you are probably at this point starting to think, okay, well, yeah, it's not that easy. It's just go in the streets, loot around, extract, and have a ton of loot. Because honestly, if I was telling you that, I would be a complete liar. It is not that easy. It really isn't. It's more you have to get lucky and not come across anybody that's going to absolutely eliminate you or be hiding in a tree. Although, by following what I do in this video, I can guarantee that more often than not, you will be able to survive in most of your raids. So as you can see, currently I am just across the street from the Pinewood Hotel. Now, right now I'm going to be heading down to the post office. Now, my reason for this is simply, like I said before, this is the closest building that I spawned to. Now, also, the reason for me looting the way that I do in this video is mainly because I spawned with 45 minutes left in the raid, and I know that's still very, very early, so I knew that there was still a ton of PMCs. So I kind of wanted to just play it safe, close doors behind me, and kind of go upstairs before anybody else could like really do anything, and I would hear them before anything could actually happen. So that's kind of also something to pay attention to. But as you can see right there on the steps, I got the PSU and the Helix. This dead scav right here and the shelf, they both have some great loot. But pretty much this entire building is going to just have a lot of very valuable loot, just pretty much spread throughout. Upstairs in a lot of those rooms, there's going to be quite a few chances for some rare tech spawns. So you're always going to want to make sure you check those. That's actually directly behind where I am right now. But as we move forward, we go up to the next story, and this is where some of the other rooms are, as well as you always want to check out these jackets in the toolboxes, as well as the shelves. But now pretty much the loot is very good, but it's going to be very similar depending on whichever one of these buildings you loot. That's why it's very important to just go to whichever one is closest to you to avoid pretty much as much risk as possible. Now, as you can see here, I started crouching because I'm pretty sure I heard somebody, but I don't think I actually ended up hearing anybody yet, but whatever. So these apartments are really going to have a lot of great loot no matter which buildings they're in, so you're always going to want to make sure that any of these apartments you're thoroughly looting them to make sure that you get all of the best possible loot. Now as we jump down the floor, that's going to bring us into yet another apartment, and on this couch there's going to be a Bitcoin spawn, and as we make our way into the kitchen there's going to be another rare tech spawn, and we find a USEC toy. Now that's going to also be super valuable, but I've also found a bunch of other rare tech spawns right here. If this video has helped you out so far, please be sure to smash that like button. So I finished looting up the building, and I'm pretty sure that I heard something, so I was kind of just waiting here at the top of the steps, and it's sped up, so you kind of see I fly down the steps, but I knew for a fact that I heard somebody. So I open up this door here to my right, and almost immediately that player opens up the door, and I was able to instantly get the kill on him because he had no idea that I was there because I wasn't moving. And this is why it's so important to not be sprinting around through the map, because that's just going to make so much sound, and you're just going to alert all the other players, especially if they're in a second story. They can shoot you straight out the window and you're just going to get killed and you're never even going to see them. Definitely be careful with that. So immediately upon leaving the post office, I killed 2 scavs, but I'm coming along this road right here toward my exfil, and I could have swore I saw a player right there. I did end up slowing down the footage, and I actually did, but they ended up just running away. So all I did was very, very cautiously make my way across the street here over to the Kilmov Mall exfil. Now, I knew that this was the closest one to me, and immediately after leaving the post office, it was right here. But as you saw that green flare go up, that told me for certain that there was a PMC down there trying to extract. All I did was make sure I hugged the building, but I kept taking a peek over there just to see if I could get a shot off maybe. But I didn't end up getting a shot off, and all I did was run in and get to my exfil. Now, obviously, I could have easily went and engaged with those players or potentially seen them out of the windows, but I wanted to just make sure I could easily extract with my loot and not take any chances, and I strongly, strongly recommend that you guys do the exact same. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to potentially end up getting killed when there's no reason to. So right now I've got all the gear from that last raid right here, and I'm just going to go through and sell all of that. I'm going to speed it up, and I'm going to show you how many rubles we made once I'm done. Right now we're at 3.1 mil. Alright, and now the moment of truth. As you can see, my rubles have went down quite a bit, actually, because I've listed so many different items. But everything is finally listed and sold. Really quick, I will just check the flea market. Oh, actually, we still have one more thing up. Just this power supply here. Alright, whatever. So that's about 80,000 rubles, but so we won't factor that yet. But let's see what we got here. So we're at just under 3.1 mil. And look at that. Just about 3.7 mil. So in literally one raid that took me about 15 minutes, maybe 20 or so, at most, I made just under 750,000 rubles, including that power supply. To me, that's pretty dang good, especially considering all I did was go in as a scav and literally just loot one building. All I did was go into the post office and go straight to the exit. I mean, you really can't get any better than that, honestly. For those of you who stuck around to the end of the video, now I bring you the Marked Room Vault. Now, I'm not sure how long this is going to be around before it gets patched, but basically this allows you to get into the Marked Room without having to have the key. So now all you're going to need to do is vault onto the railing, vault onto the roof. Once you do so, you're going to want to look similar to where I do, vault up, and when you do, make sure you continue holding spacebar. Now all you need to do is just hop right in, and there you go. Now to get out is just very similar, and yeah, this is a ton of free loot. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to get patched though. That's why I put it at the very end of the video. So yeah, do it if you want. If not, then don't. Now, by this point in the video, I can guarantee you that you will be able to make tons and tons of money with ease. Now, if this video helped you out, please be sure to smash that like button, and definitely don't forget to get subscribed because I've got a bunch more guides coming very soon. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.